Yakuza series has always been an intricate mix of brutal brawling, heartfelt storytelling and a rich portrayal of Japan's underworld. Since its debut in 2005, the series has garnered a cult following, becoming a landmark franchise for Sega. But in 2016, Yakuza Kiwami took us back to where it all started, remaking and reimagining the original Yakuza in ways that surprised both new players and veterans alike. So what makes this remake stand out? What has Sega done to bring this PS2 classic into the modern era? And more importantly, why should you play it? Alright, before we dive headfirst into Kiwami, let's talk about the origin of the series. Yakuza, known as Ryuga Gotoku in Japan, made its debut on the PlayStation 2 back in 2005. The series was pitched as a sort of Japanese GTA, but let me stop you right there, because Yakuza is way more than that. While both Yakuza and Grand Theft Auto explore crime and feature open-world elements, Yakuza sets itself apart by focusing heavily on a narrative that is deeply rooted in Japanese culture, and more importantly, by presenting, in my honest opinion, one of the most fleshed-out main characters in gaming history, Kazuma Kiryu, the Dragon of Dojima. Fast forward to 2016 and Sega releases Yakuza Kiwami, a complete remake of the original, and they didn't just slap a fresh coat of paint on it either. This is a full reimagining with updated visuals, refined gameplay and a bunch of new content that makes the remake feel like a love letter to both longtime fans and newcomers alike. At its core, Yakuza Kiwami follows the story of Kazuma Kiryu, a man deeply entrenched in the criminal underworld of Japan. After taking a fall for a murder he didn't commit to protect his sworn brother, Kiryu spends 10 long years in prison. When he's finally released, he returns to a drastically changed Kamurocho, a once familiar city now riddled with chaos, betrayal and the disappearance of 10 billion yen that's sending shockwaves through the Yakuza world. One of Kiwami's biggest narrative improvements over the original is how it fleshes out Nishikiyama as a character. Where the original game portrayed Nishiki as one-dimensional, Kiwami adds new cutscenes and character development to explore his hardships and insecurities. Kiwami dives deeper, showing how circumstance and ambition fracture his relationship with Kiryu. And then there's Haruka, who serves as another key emotional anchor for Kiryu. She's searching for her mother, and as Kiryu takes it upon himself to protect her, their bond grows into something almost familial. Haruka represents innocence in a world filled with corruption and violence, and her presence really brings out a softer, more vulnerable side of Kiryu. And this is where Yakuza Kiwami is at its best, blending crime drama and deeply personal stories of love, loss and loyalty. The writing here is sharp, the voice acting is top tier, and the new scenes added for Kiwami give the story more emotional weight than ever before. Alright, now let's get into the real meat of the game, the combat. If you've played Yakuza 0, you'll find the combat system in Kiwami very familiar. Kiryu has access to 4 fighting styles: Brawler, Rush, Beast and Dragon of Dojima, each catering to different playstyles and combat situations. Brawler is your all-rounder, great for balanced combat with decent offense and defense. Rush, as the name suggests, focuses on speed and dodging, making it ideal for dealing with quicker opponents. Beast, on the other hand, turns Kiryu into a tank, allowing him to grab objects around him and smash his enemies into the pavement. And then there's the Dragon of Dojima style, Kiryu's signature, which starts off weak but gradually becomes the most powerful of them all. Next are heat actions, and I just want to take a moment to appreciate how satisfying these finishers are. Whether you're slamming someone's head into a wall, throwing them over your shoulder, or using a random street object like a trash can or a signpost, every heat action feels brutal and impactful. You can almost feel the weight of each punch, kick or weapon swing. It's an incredibly addictive gameplay loop. But it's not just the regular street fights that shine. Yakuza Kiwami has some seriously memorable boss battles. Each major villain comes with their own unique movesets and strategies, forcing you to adapt your fighting style accordingly. These encounters are tough, especially as the game progresses, but they never feel unfair. It's a test of skill and strategy, making every victory feel well earned. But the most interesting addition to Kiwami's combat system is the Majima Everywhere mechanic. Goro Majima, Kiryu's unpredictable bat-wielding frenemy, takes center stage here, constantly challenging Kiryu to fights in the most bizarre and unexpected ways. Majima Everywhere is pure chaos in the best way possible. You could be walking through Kamurocho, minding your own business, and suddenly Majima pops out of a trash can or challenges you to a fight while he's dressed as a cop. These surprise encounters are more than just random fights. They're the key to unlocking Kiryu's Dragon of Dojima fighting style, which starts off nerfed but becomes more powerful as you fight Majima to level it up. Majima serves as both comic relief and a a serious adversary, pushing Kiryu to his limits with each encounter. Plus, it keeps you on edge throughout the game, never knowing when Majima might just show up. It's an incredibly smart way to keep combat feeling fresh, while also building on the unique and often bizarre relationship between Kiryu and Majima. Majima Everywhere embodies the quintessential Yakuza tone. It's a perfect mix of ridiculous, over-the-top humour and deep personal storytelling. It's like one minute you're saving little girls from gangsters, and the next Majima is hitting you with a bicycle. And these are the types of tonal shifts that make the series so special. Kamurocho, the shining gem of the Yakuza series. Kiwami takes us back to this iconic district of Tokyo, and it's more alive than ever. Modelled after the real-life Kabukicho, Kamurocho is filled with side activities, quirky characters, and a sense of place that makes it feel like a character in itself. When you're not caught up in the main story or getting jumped by thugs, Kamurocho offers an enormous amount of side activities. You can compete in a kids card game called Mezzo King, test your strength at the batting cages, or even get involved in the underground pocket circuit racing scene. These distractions are more than just filler, they're integral to the game's unique tone, balancing the intense drama of the main story with light-hearted fun. And believe me, nothing beats the surreal experience of having Kiryu, this hardened ex-Yakuza, belt out a cheesy karaoke song with full passion. One of the most beloved aspects of the Yakuza series has always been its side stories. In Kiwami, they're just as bizarre, heartwarming and memorable as ever. These subplots break up the intensity of the main narrative and give you a glimpse into the everyday lives of the Kamurocho residents. They range from the straight-up bizarre to genuinely touching moments that showcase Kiryu's unexpected kindness. What makes them special is how they humanize Kiryu. Despite being a hardened ex-Yakuza, Kiryu's interactions with these side quests show him to be empathetic, caring, and even a little socially awkward at times. You can't help but love the guy, and that's why the sub-stories are such an essential part of the Yakuza experience. They flesh out the world and the protagonist in many ways that the main story simply can't. These stories may be small, but they're the beating heart of Kamurocho. Being a remake of the 2005 PS2 classic, Yakuza Kiwami brings massive improvement in terms of visuals and sound. The world feels more detailed, the character models are more expressive, and Kamurocho's neon streets are just stunning. Kamurocho looks and feels like a living, breathing city. From the bustling crowds to the intricate details of the shops and restaurants, everything feels meticulously crafted. The character models, especially during cutscenes, are incredibly detailed. Facial expressions are nuanced, and the lip syncing in the Japanese voice track is spot on. You can really see the emotion in the characters' faces during those intense story moments. Whether it's Kiryu's stoic delivery or Majima's chaotic energy, the performances are pitch perfect. For those of you who might prefer an English dub, just know that this game doesn't have one. But trust me, the Japanese audio and English subtitles is perfect. It captures the authenticity of the characters and their world in a way that's hard to replicate. And then there's the soundtrack, and it's a banger. The music shifts depending on what you're doing. During combat, you'll get these adrenaline-pumping tracks that'll make you feel like an unstoppable force. But during more soft and emotional moments, the music tones down, becoming more melancholic or reflective. The sound design, from the punchy sound effects during fights to the ambient noise of the city streets, is top tier and really helps to immerse you in the world. Of course, as much as Kiwami excels, it's not without its flaws. Some of the game's more dated elements come true, particularly in its pacing. The original Yakuza was designed for a different era of gaming, and at times, Kiwami can feel like it's carrying some of that baggage. And while the Majima Everywhere system is fun, it can also feel like it disrupts the flow of the game at inopportune times. The leveling system, though improved from the original, can still feel a little bit grindy, especially if you're trying to fully unlock the Dragon of Dojima style. It's a small price to pay for the combat depth, but it is worth mentioning. So, what's the final verdict on Yakuza Kiwami? Honestly, this game is a must-play for any fan of story-driven action games. Whether you're new to the Yakuza series or a long-time fan looking to relive Kiryu's early days, Kiwami delivers a gripping narrative, satisfying combat, and a world that feels alive and full of surprises. The combination of serious crime drama with offbeat humour and heartfelt character moments makes Yakuza Kiwami a game like no other. Yeah, it's got a few rough edges, some pacing issues here and there, but those minor flaws are completely overshadowed by everything the game gets right. If you're someone who values strong storytelling, complex characters, and the kind of game world that feels lived in, then Yakuza Kiwami is worth every minute of your time. It's a game that'll make you laugh, cry, and pump your fist in victory, all in the span of a few hours. And the best part, it's just the beginning of Kiryu's incredible journey. So strap in, because once you dive into the Yakuza series, you won't want to stop. Thank you so much for watching my video on Yakuza Kiwami. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more of these types of views, and tell me what your favourite Yakuza game is, or if you're thinking of starting the series in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you next time.